Oh, okay, so we are live here, and I want to say a very big thank you to everybody who have joined us on our live session today. And I'm going to be giving some important information. So today I'm going to be talking about the three types of investments that every real estate investors must prioritize. In case you can hear me, please let me know. If you are following today's live session, just comment, I hear you. If there's anything major adjustments that needs to be done, please try as much as you can. If you cannot hear me too, please do well to raise the notice. This thing is echoing. Take that thing back to zero. That red button. That red button. Yeah. Yes. Or you are a serial real estate investor. If you can hear me, do well to say I can hear you. And once again, I want to say a very big thank you for joining this live session. It's going to be very brief. It's going to be brief. So let's quickly go into it. In one of my videos, I was all right. Okay, thank you very much. I have some inquiries here from the previous live session. Although I told some of our investors that they should drop, their comments and at the commencement of the video. Well, many people did not do that, so I'm just going to quickly attend to some of the question. So there's a question here, and the the man that asked this question was. Let me quickly make this assertion very quickly. Is that whenever we come online to address the major challenges and difficulties that every real estate investors may be facing. So we are not here to talk about the name. We are not here to address the brand. We are trying as as early as much as possible not to portray anything negative. But so the question this person asked basically is that I've bought an off-land project in the Shongotedo axis. This is actually the fourth year. Every attempt to get across to the developer has proven abortive, and at the moment my realtor is nowhere to be found. I said, Adejare, what can I do? Okay, so this is a rare case of how do I put it now? This is a rare case of negligence from your realtor, and I've had to come in different aspects in resolving this the best way I can. So I think what you should do basically is that you need to get a lawyer in this kind of situation. The situation has gone. We're talking 4 years here. So from your question now, it's 4 years. So the first thing is you need to get across to a lawyer. If you don't have one, we can recommend. Okay, we have some legal teams that work with us. Then the next thing you also need to do basically is that since your realtor is nowhere to be found, and from what from what I've seen so far, it seems you are not also in the country. So sometimes I've seen instances whereby some development company would deliberately delay some work simply because the investors are not in the country. Yes, I've seen direct cases of negligence from their part. So after you've gotten the lawyer, brief the lawyer, then the next thing you also need to do is you need to get someone who can stand in for your realtor, because from all indications you're not in the country, so it is highly difficult for you to monitor this thing by yourself. So you need to get somebody. So what the person needs to do is that the person needs to find out if this particular company is still existing, because I'm just seeing this name for the first time, and I've not heard about them, though it's not possible for me to probably deal with all the companies. It's not. So you want to hire somebody that can ensure that this company is still existing. Fortunately enough, if they are still existing, then you need to get all the documents you have been given so far from by the developer. And so what are those important documents you need to get? First, you need to get your contract of sale. you also need to keep intact, okay, all your payment receipts and every other document that the real estate developer has given to you. And so from there, that is how you can, okay, monitor and of course take it over from there. So these are some important things that you need to pay attention to. How soon should I do it? How soon should I do it? You should do it as soon as you want results. So these are things. So by the time you've been able to confirm the authenticity of the company, by the time you're able to, unravel if the company is still in existence, then a lawyer should write to them. Now, there are some cases that being civil or being considerate will certainly not solve. I've been in this industry long enough for me to let you understand basically that being civil will not resolve so many things. So you need to do this. All right. So these are some of the things you need to please kindly respond to the chats. So you need to do that. So once your lawyer has written to them, then you really also want to confirm if those things are very very much active. So by the time you've been able to do that, one of the things you should also do basically is that you need to visit that project. Now, when we talk about when we talk about cases of um, projects not being delivered, you need to go beyond what is being said. Okay, you need to go beyond what is being said, and you need to, follow some of those things that are happening. Because if you don't, a lot of things may be, responsible for that. So I would say you do this as quickly as possible. So these are some of the most important things. So what you will now do basically is that the moment you've done that, you can give us your feedback and let us know. Then of course there have been instances whereby we've come into frame in alleviating and um, solve situations like this. But the reason why we will not be coming in now is due to the fact that we actually don't know, okay, what has transpired. We don't have the details of the transaction, and at the moment, it's quite unfortunate that your lawyer, I mean, your realtor, who will also have the detail of that transaction, is not around. So it becomes extremely difficult. So these are some of the things that needs to be done as soon as possible. So when you have done this successfully, then you obviously want to put all these things basically into consideration. Okay, so these are some of the important things you need to do now for that. So before we are going through today's live session, I'll be taking two more questions. Now, this one is actually talking about a particular real estate company that she bought a landed property from in the Udumi area, and you finished payment, and you're asking what exactly is happening in this region. Well, I know the area very well. I'm familiar with the Udumi axis, but I not had any dealing with this company. So, madam, what I think you should do at this point basically is that you should try as much as you can to um, get across to your realtor. And the thing basically is that most of you bought this property from a company, and I believe this company have their customer service, they have their email, and they have their designated representative that can brief you on some of these things. So if the case, so try and find out what exactly could be on, or what could happen, what could be happening basically because of that. Some of these transactions are not things that I'm fully aware of. So but I thank you very much for keeping us abreast. So what can you do in that moment? Let me quickly say this for every real estate investor that is following us live. One important thing you need to understand basically is that if you are buying real estate in Nigeria, it is very important that you keep every details of all the document that is being given. All these things are very, very critical. They're very, very important. So if you have your document, obviously these are proofs that the transaction has occurred. And if it's a case of delayed situation like this. I think this particular situation is similar to the previous one I just read. I would advise you get across your realtor, and in the case where your realtor is not available, you need to get somebody that can step in, go to the company, find out what is going on, speak with the developer, find out what must have transpired. I know Udemy very well. I've been to that axis several, although it's been a while I went there, but I learned that the present Lagos Calabar Coastal Road is, cutting across that Udemy axis, which makes it very, very fantastic. Okay, so I also have another question. I think this is the last question I'll be taking into this live session. Since you spoke about branding, for us that have bought from unknown brands and we are being skeptical, do you still recommend we demand for an indemnity clause just to protect our real estate investment? Okay, I think I like this question. Okay, for some of us that have bought from unknown brands, if you have followed the video very well, I said that an indemnity clause can only be demanded before a transaction has taken place. Okay, so you demand for it before you pay the real estate development company, not after you have paid. So I need to make that clarification. Now, in situations whereby you have bought, well, I've seen instances whereby some companies started small and today they have become a mighty force. So I'm not saying you should not buy from new or old company. What I'm saying you should do basically is that you should find out that the companies that you bought from are reliable, they are credible, and of course, they will not allow your project slip away from your hand. So, to answer that question, indemnity clause is mostly requested for before a transaction is being taken place. Okay, so you ask the real estate developer to include it in your contract of sale before you pay. So that is it. Okay, I have one more question. Now, the reason why I'm open to questions is due to the fact that I believe very well that as we're taking this question in this live session, a whole lot of people will be able to answer, will be able to get one or two lessons from this. Okay, so this question is from someone in Sweden, and the person was talking about okay, this is actually a building that was okay. I bought a particular two-bedroom apartment from a company in Abramati Soya, and I made an initial deposit. When I began to have my doubts, I stopped payments and I sent someone to check the project, and it's been 3 years, nothing is happening. What should I do? Wow, this, wow. Uh, Now, there was a particular real estate investor I helped in securing a residential property recently. And before we bought that property, before we paid for that property, the property was, developer started that project last year. Please respond to this from me, just say thanks. Okay, so the man said, the woman said she wanted to buy this property, then what can I recommend? So I've not heard about that development company before, though there are some people who have successfully transacted with them. Okay, and as at that time where that property was going on, they were selling it for a promo price, and this particular investor was so eager. Now, from my years of experience and from what I've seen so far, I've learned in this industry that you don't jump at projects. Basically, I've seen instances whereby people are giving things for a very reduced price and the likes. Yes, this is not to insinuate that every property that are given that reduced price is fake. No, that's not what I'm trying to insinuate. What I'm saying in essence basically is that I've never heard from those real estate development companies before. So I told the woman that it is better for us to monitor this project for at least 6 months. Let us see what will be the outcome. Even if we are not going to buy, at the promo price at which the developer is selling, I think it's better to buy at the current price than to take advantage, of a promo price, and we are stocked and our money is gone. Now, so in similar situations like this, I think what every real estate investor must pay attention to is that buying a property at promo price gives you an opportunity to save. And I love that idea very well. I love the fact that I can buy a land for, let's say, 5 million, and in less than three, or in less than few months it's 10 million. Yes, but life is risky. But I've seen instances whereby I personally have jumped at promo prices of some developments in this our axis, and I regretted it like Jesus. So the point basically that I told the person is, I told the investor, let us wait, at least let this particular real estate developer takes this project beyond the lintel stage. Now, if you are taking the project beyond the lintel stage, then I can advise, okay, I can advise that you go for it. Do you understand? Now, what happened basically is that the question that is being directed to me right now is that this particular woman bought the project at the develop at the promo price, okay, or at the initial stage, and taking advantage of the promo, she paid. And when she began to sense that there might be issues, she stopped payment and said, hey, the project has not gone beyond the stage it was as at the time she paid. Yes, I've seen similar situations like this before. So what must you do? Now, the moment you are beginning to have your doubts, the moment you are beginning to fear if the developer will not deliver, I would rather suggest that you allow that project to go past some levels. At least let them go beyond foundation, let them go beyond lintel, let them start roofing. Okay, if peradventure if all you need to do is to do maybe some of yourself, are you monitoring this, please? If you have to do most of all by yourself, I think it is better than for you to jump at a promo price and there will be issues. Okay, so if you are buying, and if there are cases of you have seen a project, you like the project, but you have your fear that things like this can happen, your fear that someone can abandon that project, okay, I will advise that if you have your doubt, allow the project to get to a stage whereby if peradventure it is not completed, you will not lose out. So that was what I told the investor. I said, madam, I understand this is very cheap, this is a very good deal, okay, let us wait. Even if there's an increase, I think it makes a lot of sense for us to buy at the current price, okay, after we have seen some tremendous levels of development, than to jump at a promo price. And with the level of inflation right now, a whole lot of buildings, a whole lot of structures have been abandoned. I did a video on why we have so abandoned projects. When I talk about abandoned project is not just houses alone. There are a lot of development projects across the island that have been abandoned, and some of this is due to the fact, okay, that inflation, a lot of people who started this project who did not foresaw, these guys did not foresaw this inflation, a lot of people are stuck. So if you are doing an off-plan project, it is very important that if you have your doubts, I'm using that word if, allow the project to at least record some level of progress before you key in. So that was what we did, and to the glory of God, the house is completed right now, and the investor will be taking possession. So what you should now do basically is that in this kind of situation, if you are watching this series, this my live session, is with what you have seen, just get a lawyer, write to the company and demand your refund. Now, in situations whereby there are issues like this, it is very important that we stress the possibility that there are tendencies that these guys are stopped, and because of that, they may not be able, okay, to complete that project. If they've been doing this for 3 years and they've not achieved anything significant, then you should get a lawyer or and write them for your refund. So that is all for the question and answer session. Okay, so I'm still taking more questions. Before I go to what I have to discuss today on today's live session of Property Matters. I'm still taking more questions. Okay. All right. I bought a particular property in the Folu Ise. Okay, I know Folu Ise. Folu Ise is one of the most popular place in Bejuleki. Okay, it was on a buy 5 get 1 free, and I have my papers, but I sent someone there to check the property, and nothing seems to be going on. The developer's signboard is no longer there, and we found out that there's been a vandalization on the fence. Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, first of all, I would want us to draw conclusions hurriedly. In situations like this, we need to carefully, okay, assess and analyze what could be going on. Now, although this person has mentioned the name of the developer he bought from, so what we do here, I don't talk about company's name, I don't talk about I don't mention, you won't see me do that. Okay, that is totally not necessary. Okay, I also hope to have my own company in the future, so I don't like a situation whereby my name is being mentioned for something positive. I'm not saying this particular person is wrong. No, I'm not saying this, but now in this kind of situation, you need to get across to the developer, you need to get across to the real estate development company, and you need to find out what is going on. So from the question this particular real estate investor has raised so far, what I'm saying basically is that 2 things or 3 things may be happening. Now, in the Folu Ise, for some of you might be wondering, where is Folu Ise is few minutes drive after the popular La Campagne Tropicana. For some of us who know La Campagne Tropicana, there were a particular time where some real estate development companies sold land for 750,000, 850,000. A lot of people sold for 1.5 million. That was in the early 2000 and I said 2000, sorry. In the early 2020, 2021, Folu Ise was obviously the talk of the town. Then a lot of people sold property as excision in process. I honestly don't know if some of these companies have gotten their excision, and so people should have bought. Even me too, I bought them. I bought. So, but now 3 things could be happening. Number 1, I think the vandalization, like I said, you need to call the real estate development company and find out what is going on. And in some of these cases, you just don't present your complaint with mercy. Anytime you go to sites and you discover that some of these things or situations like this are happening, it is very important, okay, that you go with a video evidence. Whoever must have seen this should make a video of the thing and send it directly to the real estate developer. In some cases, I've seen instances whereby most of this real estate development company may not even be aware. Majority of them are not aware of this. So you really want to help them. You want to help your investments by making them to be aware. Okay, send them the video evidence. If it is something that they can resolve, I can assure you that they will respond to it. Now, because I've seen instances whereby people are giving mercy on things and they are creating, unnecessary, panics. So you obviously want to call the real estate developers' attention that this was what my informant has gone to check. How true is the situation? You obviously, and you really, really want to do this. Please do this as soon as possible, because I can assure you some of them are not aware. Now, what could happen? The Lagos Calabar coastal road is cutting across the Folu axis. So you really also want to ensure if that road is not on the alignment for the coastal road. Now, there's been a lot of fencing demolition in the axis, and that is due to the fact that some of these estates that has been sold, okay, Oga, you are sleeping, you're on duty, you can't sleep while you're on duty. Sorry. So you obviously want to confirm if those properties are not on the road alignment. That's the first thing you want to do, okay? So the essence is not to create unnecessary panic, but the essence is just for you to call the developer's attention. Now, your response, what you will now do, okay, will now be dependent on the developer's reaction after you have called his or attention to this. You obviously want to pay attention to this, okay? So now, if the developer's action is negative, that is when you can now start taking up some steps on what you need to do. So these are the things you need to pay attention to, okay, concerning this. So there is a road construction there, and if any estate falls inside the road as alignment, okay, definitely it will be taken. So you also want to confirm if that property you have bought does not fall into the road alignment. Then the next thing you also want to do is you also want to find out if the developer is not having endless land tussle or property tussles with Omonile. Now, one of the reasons why I'm a little bit skeptical about that axis is that there've been cases of multiple sales of one properties to different investors, and I remember a few years ago where I went for one allocation like that, and unknowing to us, we were attacked, and it was to the glory of God that we were not mobbed and attacked. We were not killed. They were attacked. There was the attack was crazy, and that was the situation there. So you obviously want to pay attention to that to find out if this is not a case of Omonile tussle or the place has been resold. Then you should also confirm from your realtor or the developer if he or she still has control over the land. If you have been able to do that, I believe that you should you be able to find out what actually happened. Now, I know very well that for most of the landed properties that are within those axes, if you have 1 acre there, if you have several plots there, if the land is still under the control and possession of the real estate development companies, and you have your papers, I will advise, okay, they're watching, because most of these questions were questions that happened that were dropped in my previous live session. Now, because of the technical issues I had when I came online, I could not respond to them. So I have some series of questions which I think it is very important I attend to, okay? And so that's what you should do. So if you have bought and the property is still intact, the developer still have control over it, the next thing you should do is start perfecting your type. So there's a coastal road in that area. I can assure you that government interest, even if it was not there before, will be driven towards that area. So these are some of the important things you need to do. So one final question. One final question. So like I said, I took some of these questions from my previous live session. Now, because of the technical glitch, I'm not INEC anyway, because I also experienced some technical glitch in the last video, live video I have. It was not it was not very, very conducive. I had to come online like 4 to 5 times, and I could not achieve more. So I took those questions. So if you have your questions, please, you can drop it. We're having another live session by God's grace. Today is Monday. We're having another one on Wednesday. So I'm going to respond to some of those. So the purpose of this live session basically is to bring real estate investors to some of the challenges that people who have bought properties in time past, okay, have had. And of the reason why I provide, some of these workable solutions basically is that if you have a similar situations like that, you will know what you need to do to safeguard and protect your real estate investment. So I have one final question. You talked about economic due diligence in one of your videos. How can I be so sure that my real estate investments will not be a waste in the future? Wow. Oh my word, this is a big one, a huge question. All right, so when you are buying properties, for some of us that, for some of you, I said some of us, I'm here by God's grace, and I'll be here by God's grace. So, for some real estate investors who are buying properties, there've been several instances where I have personally demanded for either live or virtual inspections. When you are buying and investing in Nigeria, we are in a real estate sector that is highly competitive. Competitive in the sense that a whole lot of people are selling real estate. And because of the competitive nature of this industry, a lot of people will throw different things at you. Now, you have bought, and congratulations, because there are three things that you need to do. Number one is that you need to understand the concept of positioning. A lot of real estate investors have gotten that. I'm going to be doing a series very soon, if the end of this October, the first week of November, where I'll be talking about you are still investing wrongly. Now, a lot of people think because they are buying properties in Lagos or they are listening to the advice of their realtor, a lot of people still have this notion that all their investments is profitable. Well, it's dependent. It's dependent. So I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to give any negative things. But if you are buying properties in Lagos, the first thing you need to understand that you need to understand positioning. Is my property located in a place where rental value is well appreciated? Number two, you also need to stop taking advices from people who don't understand the Lagos State rental market. Number three, you also need to intensify different aspects of due diligence. A lot of people are still doing it because they are persuaded to do so. Now, when I was talking about creating profitable investment portfolio, if you have not seen that video and on this live session, do well to go back to that video. I explained so many things that real estate investors are still getting wrong. Now, for the fact that you are buying in Lagos does not mean you will get rent or you get tenants immediately. There are still some parts of Lagos where there are no good access roads. There are still some parts of Lagos where there are not constant electricity. There are still some places in Lagos whereby your property cannot demand, will not be in demand of the rental market. Because you see, there's been a lot of talk about Lagos, and when people are explaining some important things, they leave out the facts. So you obviously want to pay attention to all these things. Now, madam, my response to that question basically is that what you should do is that you have bought the property, still keep possession of that property. If you can send us the address of the property, if it's still within our vicinity, we'll make our time to go and see it. We'll run our own fact check and we'll make our recommendations. Of course, you can send it to us personally. My line is there, so I'll ask my team members to go and check it out. We look at the location, look at everything, and we'll give you a detailed. So for now, we don't know where the property is. We don't know the location, so it will be totally unfair for us to make conclusions. Okay, and that is it. So I'm going to be talking today on 3 important things you should put into consideration when you are choosing a rental property. We're talking about 3 important things that you should put into consideration when you are choosing a rental property. This live session is supposed to end in 30 minutes. I think what I have left is just, God help me, 7 minutes. So I'll try as much as I can to work with time. The first thing you want to put into consideration when you are choosing a rental property, apologies, that's my daughter, I'm sorry. So the first thing you want to put into consideration when you're choosing your rental property is accessibility. Now, I'm also going to be doing a video very soon where I'm going to be showing you the present state of properties at different places in Lagos. Now, that video will help you a lot to understand the hidden things that is not always open to you guys when you are buying land or you are buying houses. Accessibility. Now, when we talk about accessibility, what exactly do I mean? Number one, the access road to where that property is. How good is it? Number two, you also want to look at the amenities within that. The first thing I want to put into consideration is that I hope my cars will not be damaged as I drive down to my house. These are one of the most important things that I want to put into consideration. How is the road accessibility to that place? And a whole lot of people are not paying attention to that, and that could be the reason why some people are not renting some apartments. It's not because, as far as I'm concerned, okay, Lagos State government is still trying as much as they can, okay, to meet up the housing deficit. The housing deficit for Lagos State has even increased by 25%, meaning that government alone cannot solve the problem of housing. So we really need to pay attention to all those things so that we will not still be making the same errors and the same mistake like we have been doing. Okay, so you want to do a rental properties, you need to, the accessibility is very, very important. How accessible is that place? Then you also want to find out what is the condition of that place when it rains. Now, I've said it before that as long as you are investing on this highland, you obviously cannot rule out the possibility of what? Of constant flooding. And these are the most important things that you want to put into consideration as a real estate investor. You just can't. If you do that, you will pay, drastically for that. So you also want to look at the area, the possibility of what? Of flooding in that region. If you don't handle the process of flooding very well, there will be issues. There are some places that when you invest, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, you will need a canoe to get to your house. So these are some of the things you want to put into consideration. Then finally, you want to look at the title. There's no way I will talk about rental properties and I will ignore or not look at the title. The title is very, very important, especially if that property is located in Lagos. Now, I've seen different instances of people who are buying and they're not paying attention. In fact, the kind of due diligence I do whenever I'm searching for properties or I'm making recommendations or I want to help somebody to secure a property, some real estate development companies don't call me because if they don't even have a title, my due diligence will expose them. So it's very important you want to look at that. Now, if there's no way, okay, that you will put all these 4 things into consideration and still invest wrongly. Now, I know many of us, oftentimes, we are being carried away with the sophistication of the design of the videos. We are being carried away by the drone. We are being swayed by those beautiful things. When I go for inspections, there's one thing I've done several times that has, helped me to, that has set me aside from every other person. I say things the way they are. If you like, you will buy. If you like, you will not buy. I would not see a place that is dry and tell you, or I will not see a place that is waterlogged and tell you it is dry. There's no way I will tell you this place is this, and you find out and you'll be disappointed. Never. And the reason why I'm doing that basically is due to the fact that I have come to understand something, that if I lie to you to invest, I have damaged my reputation. So that's one of the reasons why I tell you things the way they are. That's just me for you as a person. So you want to look at the accessibility of the place. You want to look at the flooding situation of that area. You want to look at the title. Then you want to look at the nearness of that property, okay, to the malls, to the cinemas, to attraction centers. You really want to pay attention, because if you don't do so and you invest, you see, I've been in some places. There's a place they call Destiny Homes. Destiny Homes is a boundary between Adejare GRA and Shongotedo axis. So I'm using that as an example. Now, there was a particular time I went for house hunting for a real estate investor that wanted to buy into that project. So I also can find that what I use to justify the price sometimes is that I do a critical, analysis of the rental properties. In that same Destiny Homes that is in GRA, I found out that there are some 2-bedroom apartments that is being rented for 800, 600,000. And as we continue the search now, we're doing house-to-house search, hunting, the way we hunt for property from place to another. And I found out that there's a particular 2-bedroom apartment, the same location, and it's been rented for 1.2 million in that same Destiny Homes. Now, the location is quite the same, isn't it? Yes, it is. But the prices differs. What is the issue? Accessibility. So, and the reason why a lot of people keep investing in the wrong place, I said it in my previous live stream, that the moment you begin to prioritize cheapness, then some realtors will not want to work in vain. Some will say, instead of losing everything, let us call white pink for this woman or for this real estate investor. Now, the process of not wanting to lose everything will make it almost impossible for that realtor to tell you guys the truth. And these are some of the things I put into consideration whenever I'm choosing the rental properties. Now, finally, on the final note, now when it comes to rental properties, if you want regular cash flow, you have to diversify. Because you see, house rents in Lagos are not the same prices. What determines rent is, number one, the location, the accessibility, and of course the demand. Now, there are some places, okay, now 1.2 million will rent you an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment in GRA. Meanwhile, 1.2 million will only rent you a room self-contained in Yaba. Now, what is the difference between this? The difference is that for the demand of 1.2 million in Adejare GRA is not the same demand in Yaba, and the reason for that is due to the fact that there is an existing rental market. We have academic institutions, we have so many workplaces. So diversification helps you to earn rental income. That's why you find out that Despite the fact that you have property on the island, you have it in Yaba, you have it in Surulere, you have it in Magodo and every part of Lagos, at the end of the year, the rental income will never tally. Why? Because you see, the principles of rental demand varies. It does. So this is why I'm making this analysis that whenever you're choosing your rental properties, you need to put all these things into consideration so that you'll be making an informed decision and you're making the best real estate investment decision. So this is where I'm going to draw today's curtain of our live session. By the special grace of God, we're also going to have another live session 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Do well to stay tuned. I want to quickly take our time for everybody that have joined this live session. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that have joined this live stream. Of course, I won't be able to attend to further questions today. For those who have questions, you can drop it on the comment section. You can private chat me if you so choose, if you so please. And I will see you in my next live session. Okay. Julius Richard, thank you very much. Omotomike Fatula, thank you very much. Okay, Meets Etrira, thank you very much. The Man of Thought, thank you very much. Everybody have joined this live session. I want to say a very big thank you. We have some important real estate matters to attend to, so that's why we're cutting today's live session short. See you on Wednesday. Thank you very much. You are free to drop your questions. We'll respond to it in the next live session.